radically different. My bank account is radically different. My life, my health, my family. And some of you can resonate with this because your life too is radically different. And if somebody asks you, well, what is the one thing you did? How did you accomplish that? How did you turn your life around? Welcome to another episode of Mindset Mastery. I'm your host, Araujo. I got to tell you, I'm ecstatic to be here. I'm fired up. I'm pumped up. And I just have so much appreciation in my soul, right? So much appreciation in my heart for just watching others around me continue to push the envelope, continue to improve their lives, to position themselves in a strong position, right? In a strong foundation. And as I look around me, the people around you, right? As I look at your success, it really inspires me. And I realize what the key to success is, right? It's usually just the small steps. It's nothing spectacular, really. You know, when I look at my own trajectory, when I look at the trajectory of our top producers, it wasn't one thing that they did that just completely changed the game for them. It was multiple decisions throughout the day, throughout the weeks, months, and years that accumulated to the success that they have today. And it's inspiring. It really is inspiring of watching others just make better decisions. And that's what life is all about, right? It's not succumbing to the easy, not succumbing to what's going to get sometimes cheered on right away, right? Like when you go out to a nice dinner and you overindulge, everyone is like high-spirited about that. Oh, that was so delicious. That was so good. You almost get reinforced to do it over and over again because there is just so much positivity, right, in the short term in it. Or when you go out out on the night of the town, right? You drink a little too much. You get over that threshold, and where everything is loose and everything is fun, you get reinforced with that. Wow, last night was so fun. It was so good. In the short term, it seems like a good idea. But it's those that are able to withstand those temptations, those that are able to say, you know, I'm just going to go to bed tonight. No, you know what? I'm going to pass on that dessert today. That really starts seeing the benefits of long-term decision-making skills. And we have to really emphasize that on a daily basis, is learning how to win, not just most of the time, but 99% of the time. That's what will really separate you from where you're at today. I had a conversation with one of our agents today as we were working out. He says, hey, when I walk into this office, I see this person fit, I see that person fit, they tell me their age, and I'm just blown away. I'm their same age, and I look nothing like them. So that awareness made him make better decisions where he's showing up to the gym every day, making better decisions with this food. And the same thing goes for your business when you're surrounded with people that are not complaining about how expensive things are, but are more in the conversation of how much money they're wanting to make this quarter, about the thresholds they're trying to overcome. It inspires you to go and shoot for more. And the conversation is always about, is it too expensive or is it not? But it all depends on where you're at, where your mindset's at, and how many good decisions you've made versus the bad ones. But I'm going to go ahead and share this article that I ran into. It was discussed in one of the groups that I belong to. It's a very small mastermind group that I belong to, and this article came up, and it was a good discussion because it really reminded me and it helped me appreciate how my life is today. And it all didn't start with just making big decisions. It started with the small decisions. Even today, as I walk in, right? I walk into the office. Here I have my lunch bag. And I recently updated this lunch bag, but it was the same type of lunch bag that I've been carrying here for the last 10 years. And in it, I have, there's no surprise. It's my lunch, my mid-afternoon lunch, and my other snack, right? I have rice and chicken and broccoli. Now, it's real easy not to do these things, but it's the same thing that I've chosen to do day after day, week after week, year after year. And my life has magnified to the point where I'm like 1 out of 100. Okay, as you get older, 1 out of 100 of being in the shape that I am versus others in my age group. I mean, there's not a lot of people around that are in the same shape as I am at my age group. But it didn't start yesterday or this week. It didn't start during this 30-day challenge or 90-day challenge. It started many years ago. But that's the advantage that I have. I know I've seen people in my own industry. I've seen fellow broker owners, fellow teams just shoot up the success ladder. And I'm here thinking like, how in the hell am I ever going to catch up? But my advantage is I show up every single day making the right decisions for myself, for my family, for my health, for my business. I make those small decisions every day. And now my mindset's totally changed. I'm like, that's awesome. I'm glad they were able to reach that. But don't count me out. Do not count me out. It's only a matter of time. And even those that are shooting past me, not to say that there's any malintent with anything that I strive for, or that they're trying to do it against me. I mean, they're on their own trajectory, but the way I think about it is it's only a matter of time. I'm going to outlast you because I'm doing the right things today. I'm not over-celebrating. I'm not abusing my body. I'm connected at home. I'm with my children. How can I lose? How can you lose when you have focus on all elements of your life? You can't. And the only way you'll lose, really, is if you become unaware of what's right and what's wrong. What gets you closer to your goals and what gets you further away. But I'm going to go ahead and read this article. So I need you to pay close attention. Please just take 5 minutes, put whatever you have away, and just pay attention here, okay? Because this is the key to your long-term success. Your life can be radically different. Not somewhat different, radically different in 5 years. Now you're like, well, 5 years, I want it now. I get it. And listen, I'm saying 5 years is to a point where it's just everything you thought you couldn't do now becomes a possibility. Everything you wish you had now becomes your reality. I'm not just talking about slightly different, significant here. I compare my life from 5 years ago, worlds apart. And there wasn't one thing that I did that shifted all that. It was just a culmination of the small things every single day. And I'm going to talk about this topic until I'm blue in the face. Because I sincerely, I honestly, I with all my heart and soul believe that that's all it requires you to live your life on fire. And we have evidence of that. The agents all around us are evidence of that. Jermaine, I see you. Caroline, I see you. Ruben, I see you. Rio, I see you. Now the game becomes about how do I make better decisions 99% of the time as opposed to 95% of the time. And some of you are 50-50. You make a good decision and it's immediately followed by a bad one. Oh, I worked out today. Let me go ahead and stop by Dunkin' Donuts. And it's not like you even that out. You actually took a step or two back. But we think it's tit for tat, right? It's not. When you make a good decision, follow that up with another good decision, not by a bad one. And the quality of your life will be evident in everything you do. It'll be evident in your eyes, the way you speak, the way you operate, the way you move, the way your business is, your bank accounts, your marriage, the way your wife or husband looks at you. The way that your kids react to you. Everything becomes evident of the small deposits. So this article is called The Small Steps of Giant Leaps. And I'm going to share this link with you so you can go back and share it with your kids. So you can go back and even share it with your clients. Maybe it's a topic that you want to go ahead and go on Facebook or on Instagram and talk about as well. But I see this in our top producers. I see this in those individuals that have recommitted to themselves in taking better care of themselves. And it just wasn't one, glorious move that changed everything. No, it was just a simple decision, backed and followed by another simple decision. The small steps of giant leaps. Here we go. One of the most beneficial skills you can learn in life is how to consistently put yourself in a good position. The person who finds themselves in a strong position can take advantage of circumstances while others are forced into a series of poor choices. Strong positions are not an accident. Weak positions aren't bad luck. Telling someone they need to put themselves in a strong position is useless. Everyone knows they need a strong foundation to build a house that can weather the storm, but not everyone knows how we can create that foundation. The answer is simple as it is frustrating. The position you find yourself in today is the culmination of the small choices that you've been making for years. In this case, if that's the case, why doesn't everyone make choices that will put them in a good position in the future? The ordinary choices that guarantee a strong future go unnoticed. There is not a pat on the back for doing the right thing, just as there is not a slap on the wrist for doing the wrong thing. Eating a chocolate bar right now won't make you unhealthy, just as not eating it won't make you healthy. Saving money today won't make you rich, just as not saving it won't make you poor. Reading a chapter of a great book today won't solve your problems, just as not reading it won't make them worse. Not doing the obvious thing you know you should, the thing that positions you for a future success, rarely hurts you right away. The small choices we make on a daily basis either work for us or against us. One choice puts time on your side, the other ensures it's working against you. Time amplifies what you feed it. On the first day, the difference between the choices that help us and the choice that hurt us isn't noticeable. But as the days turn into weeks, the weeks into years, and years into decades, do the small choices create massively different results. Whether this idea is brought up, people are quick to interject. But I do those things and I don't ever get the results. And it's true, most of us make the right choices most of the time. It's true, most of us make the right choices most of the time. But most of the time isn't the same as all of the time. For your choices to compound, you need to be consistent. Intensity will only carry you in a short term, but if you want compounding results, you need consistency. In the absence of immediate rewards, we can keep up in the intensity for a while, but most of us become intermittent. A lack of consistency keeps ordinary people from extraordinary results. It's like we're rolling a boulder halfway up the hill, only to throw our hands in the air and go home. When we show up the next day, we see the boulder at the bottom of the hill. Not only did we undermine our progress, but it makes getting started even harder. Excelling at the small choices that compound over time perpetually leaves you in a favorable circumstance. No matter what happens in the world, you're never in a position where you are forced to a bad decision. If you want results, you need to be willing to pay the price. The price is both easier than you imagine and harder than you think. The price is consistently doing the small choices that put you on the path to success for years. The price is knowing that time is working on your side even when the results don't show it. Yet. When you look below the surface, giant leaps aren't really giant leaps at all. They're a series of ordinary choices that suddenly become noticeable. If you look for the magic moment, you'll miss how ordinary becomes extraordinary. And after reading this, like I said, I just got so much appreciation for those around me. I got so much appreciation for you, the people around me. I got a lot of appreciation for myself. And again, it's not about doing the right things most of the time. There's a difference there. All of the time and most of the time are two radically different outcomes. But yet we find solace, right? We find comfort in the fact that, well, I did this good, then I deserve that. How about just continuing to do the right things and see what kind of outcomes come because of that? And like I said, it's not going to be just significantly different or slightly different. It's going to be radically different. The days turn to weeks, which turn into years and decades. When I became conscious of the small decisions every single day, in just the last 8 years, so I always put the date of 2014 because 2013 is where I felt I hit rock bottom. That's where I felt like my life was over the way it existed. December 2013 was the hardest month of my life. But I took myself there. It wasn't because of that month or whatever, Carla decided to walk out, ask for a divorce. It wasn't that specific moment. It was the 5 years prior to that. It was doing the right things, but then following up with a bad choice. It was getting a win and then celebrating too early. January 2014, I made many decisions during that time. One of which was to get some guidance, surround myself with different individuals, prioritize myself, prioritize my family, prioritize my business. Not even 8 years later. Radically different. My bank account is radically different. My life, my health, my family. And some of you can resonate with this because your life too is radically different. And if somebody asks you, well, what is the one thing you did? How did you accomplish that? How did you turn your life around? There it is. The simple, monotonous, sometimes boring actions every single day. Like, I've just learned chicken and rice. Like, not much to it, guys. Sometimes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But I feel great. And this is going to allow me to stay in the game for many years. I'm focused for many years. What I have right now will be fractional compared to where I will be in 5 years. Mark my words, just like I told you 5 years ago. Because I know there's nothing outside of me that I can't handle. I just have to do the right thing right now. And then follow that up by another right thing. And then another one, and then another one. I've conditioned, like Jermaine said, it's almost like a muscle. I've conditioned just to make the right choices. But when somebody is in this pit of making just bad decision after bad decision, they don't even know how to make a good decision. Because they haven't flexed that muscle. They haven't worked out that muscle. And we have to fight with that. We're on that constant battle. Giving into the easy, giving into what feels good right now, or doing the right thing. I see that battle all the time as I'm standing in line at a Walgreens. And I do that sometimes, right? But I'll watch somebody reaching for like a candy bar, M&Ms. This was this weekend. There was this guy right in front of me. He grabs for the M&Ms and then he thinks twice about it. But then he succumbs to it and grabs that package of M&Ms. But when I look at him, I can visibly see that he's given into his temptations more times than not. It's visible. Your bank account is visible of how many times you're willing to do the hard marketing, the lives, the follow-ups than not. Everything has its evidence. And your day can start with a good decision, followed by other good decisions, or a good decision followed by a bad one, and then another bad one. When you're not at the status quo, you're not even balancing that out. But I'm going to go ahead and share this article. And listen, if you want the results, it starts with just the small things today. And again, this is not the first time we've had this conversation, and it won't be the last time. I believe in this so much. So, I think we all know what to do, but I want to read a couple of comments here because I think this was a good topic. And I want you to think about are you in a position where you're doing the right things all the time or most of the time? And most of the time, it's almost like it's so vague, right? Most of the times means out of 10 choices, you're making 6 right decisions and 4 wrong ones. That means most, right? 6 is most. How about making 9 or 10 of the right choices every day? Starts compounding in a magnificent way. How can you lose when you are connected in all elements of my life? Can't. That's Jermaine talking to himself right there, right? And like I've had it here in this 12-week target book, you can't lose when you condition yourself to win. Let's do that. Top producers have conditioned themselves to win. They're not in a position where they're talking about, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to post. I don't know what to do. Then what do you know how to do? How to complain? How to be broke? How to yearn for more? That's it? These are the type of things that we have to understand that is all within us. There's nothing special about what I've accomplished. Seems like it. And maybe compared to others, it doesn't seem that extraordinary. But from where I began, where my mindset was, what kind of generational dysfunction I had to break, it's an incredible life. And it's possible for all of us. The choices we make are so important in not giving up on ourselves. You're less likely to give up on yourself when you're doing the right things. As opposed to saying, what's the use? What's the point? I don't have any deals. Broke, what's the point? I've gained 100 pounds. What's the point? Kids are not talking to me. What's the point? You tend to give up on yourself through the bad choices. But that's where I'll leave it today. Again, the article is called The Small Steps of Giant Leaps. You probably Google that. And I would encourage you to share that with your family, with your kids, with your spouse, and even read it again. So I think we all know what to do. I hope we have an extraordinary day by doing the small, what seems meaningless, right, steps today. Guys, I want to thank you again for joining me for this episode of Mindset Mastery, and I will talk to you soon. Bye now. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Badass Agents Podcast, brought to you by AZ & Associates and Do the Work Coaching and Consulting. You can watch this and other episodes by subscribing to our channel on YouTube or by visiting us directly at badassagents.com. And of course, you can listen to this episode and many others on your preferred podcast provider.